All right, here we are, February 1st, 2012. Michael Catlow here with David Walizer. We're getting ready to do a launch of our 15 Minutes of Fame with David Walizer. So as we get into our introductions, we have our trusty timer here, which will go off as we start our 15 minutes. So David, why don't you take just a couple quick seconds and tell us who you are, first of all, then we'll get into our 15 minutes.
I'm happy to do that. Michael, first of all, thanks for inviting me. You and I have known each other for, I don't know, a year and a half, something like that. Yeah. And you are one of the good people. And that's why I'm here, because I really like to surround myself with good people. And this is fun. This is fun. So to answer your question, my name is David Walizer. My company is WSI Net Revenue. It's an internet marketing company I've had for about 3 years. And what we try to do is to help small and medium-sized business owners to compete online. So we help them with making sure that their website is set up correctly so that when their customers are coming to visit them, they can find what they need easily. We make it so that it's easier for them to show up in a Google search or wherever their customers might be looking for them, so their visibility is enhanced. And to take advantage of the new tools around social media, and all with the idea that we want our business owners, our clients, to be able to grow their businesses using the online tools and to communicate more effectively with their customers and clients.
Got it. Well, for those of you that don't know this, we were sitting here chatting before we turned the camera on, because this is the inaugural 15 Minutes of Fame video. And I have to give a thanks to David, because this idea, was it just last week? I think it was Wednesday or Thursday of last week. The idea just kind of popped in my head, so to speak, and was ready to go. And I had made a Facebook post saying, hey, anybody have any words of wisdom they'd like to share with the world? I think I maybe had titled it something along business or whatever. And David was the only person who replied on Facebook and said, sure, I'll do something. So this is the inaugural one, but after this we've got 8 or 9 interviews lined up today. So we're going to officially start our 15-minute countdown. And we were joking around earlier because I said, so David, what do you want to talk about? And he said, I have no idea, but I'm kind of good on my feet. So we're going to get into this, and I think I have 1 or 2 quick little starting points, and then we will see where it goes. So we hope you enjoy it. If not, you've wasted 15 minutes of your life, or you fast forwarded through a few, but I think we'll have a good time. So we ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We have officially started 15 Minutes of Fame. Okay, so I've known David for, again, 1.5 years or so, and we've actually done some projects somewhat together and had lots of interesting conversations over that time period. But you're working on some new stuff right now, actually helping business owners get started, kind of launching, relaunching, and kind of understanding how to do their business from the beginning standpoint. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I know you've just had a focus group that took place yesterday and everything, and maybe for somebody who's watching the video who is maybe thinking about starting a business, what recommendations might you give, or let's see where that conversation goes first.
Sure, great start. So the specific seminars or workshops that we're talking about are how to start a business or how to restart a business, with the idea that existing business owners can probably learn a few things as well. And Michael, I'm sure you can appreciate this, there's a lot to know. Everything around who's your target market, what is it that you can do for them, what can you do for them uniquely that their competitors or your competitors can't do for them, and just tons and tons and tons of other things to go along with that. And so our motivation is to kind of shrink that learning curve or shorten that learning curve and help people to learn from our mistakes. We made a ton of them, continue to make a ton of mistakes.
Yeah.
But to go ahead and follow a process that would increase the likelihood that not only do they survive, but they thrive as business owners.
Right. And when we were talking earlier, you've obviously had experience in doing this yourself, and we were sitting at a meeting several months ago that has resonated with me forever, where you've said, if you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, I want to free people from the matrix of corporate America. And so through that, you've reached out to people you've known through corporate America and talked to them about maybe starting a business or whatever. So you've come across a whole gamut of industry, of people, of passions, and all of that. So do you think there's any lowest common denominators that are amongst all businesses that would help them have success?
That's an interesting question, a tough one to answer. So I've had exposure to a lot of different people. I don't know how representative that is, but I'll share with you what I've come across so far, and we'll see how that might apply. So I think a common denominator, to answer your question, is there has to be a driving force. There's a reason why people want to start a business, and that can vary from person to person. For some people, it is they want to control their own destiny. Perhaps they enjoyed working for somebody else, but the time has come when they want to decide every single day that they wake up how to spend their time. And no better way to do that than if you're responsible for, for running your own business. I think the second thing is there has to be a fundamental reason beyond just making money or just meeting that marketing need. There has to be some kind of, self-satisfaction. So, for instance, for me, you made reference to the Matrix. I have this ego. I have this belief that I can do that. I can show people that I've worked with respect tremendously that there's another life outside of corporate America. And I can help them to unplug from the Matrix and at least get a little taste of that. So maybe don't quit your day job. Don't give up the nice salary, the nice benefits, all that kind of stuff just yet. Try it on a part-time basis. See what might make sense for you first. And then go ahead and take that bigger step into the pond.
And one thing you had mentioned is if they're even ready, if they're in a place right now to do that. Some people may not be in a place to do it.
Look at the statistics, right? So the failure rate from small business owners, it's horrifying, right? And I think part of it is people have gotten into either the wrong model. And so if someone loves structure, so they like to follow a process, a point-by-point plan for success, and yet they go into business for themselves with no support, with no real approach to how they're going to do this, and they're left to kind of figure it out on their own, they probably won't be as successful as a person who does follow that plan, who does follow that structure. And it's personality and motivation and some other things. So that's one of the things that we hope to accomplish is figuring out your strengths from both a skill set but also motivation. And then match you with that system that's going to best match with your personality.
And obviously you've got experience personally in doing your business and other ventures and stuff, but you have a team of people that you're somewhat putting together to help advise and coach people through. Is that accurate as well?
It is. So here's, I told you I made a ton of mistakes. Here's one of those. I thought I could figure this out for myself. I've had responsible positions in corporate America. I've led large teams. I've led small teams. I consider myself reasonably competent. And I
would agree. Reasonably competent.
Well, I appreciate that. So I didn't think I needed the help. I thought I could do the marketing, I could do the operations side of the business, I could do all those different aspects. Now, I do have people that I can call upon, but even the strategy, me brainstorming with myself on a Friday morning, reasonably effective, but the greatest lesson learned for me is don't do this by yourself.
Sure.
Get some help, get somebody who's going to tell you the things that you need to hear, even if you don't want to hear them.
Now, what are some of the most unique business ideas maybe that you've come across? Are you able to share any of those? Because I know you're working with lots of people right now.
Yeah. So one is there is a woman who is finding a way to reduce some of the burden that people have when they go through some kind of hardship. Specifically, what she's looking to do is organize all the important information you have to have if someone has been hospitalized or if they've died, if they passed away, with the idea that someone who's been responsible for everything from paying the bills to organizing the kids being picked up from school to how to walk the dog or feed the dog or whatever the case may be. If that person isn't there to make those decisions, then who's going to? And they probably don't have it all written down someplace. And if they do have it all written down someplace, there's no guarantee that that's going to be found. So her business model is just that. How do you organize all this important information so someone else can step in the case of an emergency and be able to do those things that person can't do for themselves, again, because they've been hospitalized. At the other end of the spectrum, I met a person through our focus group yesterday that frankly is talking about things that are way over my head, but he wants to get into levels of quantum physics and understanding black matter. And the word time travel came out of his mouth a couple of different times. He is an out there thinker. And I get charged up being around people like that, and if our process, our experience can help them
Sure.
with them realizing their dreams, then
Sure.
we almost have an obligation to do that.
So obviously the value that everybody has their own unique skill set, their own passions, their own desires, their own structures, their own systems that they work in. So being able to help them kind of figure out what's best for them.
And on a permission basis. So there are lots of great resources out there. There's tons of online and real-world resources for people to start a business or to jumpstart a business or restart a business. What I have found is that they tend to, first of all, be a little bit narrow thinking in that if you follow these 3 steps, you're guaranteed to be successful. And they tend to be overly lecture-oriented, thou shalt.
Right.
And I think a better approach is to help guide somebody and let them figure it out for themselves with a little bit of prodding, a little bit of pushing.
Sure. Can I change topics for a second?
Please do.
I don't have permission to do this at all. It's not, we've talked about a couple things before the video. So David has started a 90-day challenge as well, personally. And we're on day 13, I think, 13 or 14 or so.
Yes, that's correct.
But you had mentioned, I would like for you to share the story, if you're okay with it, about the Facebook group and stuff, and seeing somebody have a post, one simple line that helped you make a decision. So I know we're not talking about business, you're talking about the 90-day health challenge. Will you touch on that for maybe a minute?
Yeah, happy to do so.
6 minutes and 13 seconds.
So the 90-day challenge for me is kind of a lifestyle change. I've been active physically through sports and running, cycling for years. But this is now an opportunity to kind of refocus on that aspect of it. Business, you get busy, right? And so it's easy for me to wake up in the morning, start doing email, Facebook, whatever the case may be, and I decided I needed to make exercise and nutrition a more important part of my life and to refocus on doing that at the start of my day. So today, as a matter of fact, there is a fitness group that's on Facebook that I have joined, and what's new for me is I have committed to the Facebook world that I've got this 90-day challenge. This 90-day challenge is to get in better shape athletically, physically, as well as changing some of my bad eating habits. So today, when I announce what my goals are for the day, what I accomplished yesterday, someone posted something to the effect that don't live with regrets. So today was yesterday's tomorrow, and so don't go 10 years forward looking back saying, gosh, I only started 10 years ago. And just that little comment made me get off the computer, log off Facebook after thanking them for that inspiration, and I got on the treadmill this morning. Had I not read that, I probably would have prepared for the business day and hopefully scheduled exercise later on today, but no guarantee that I would have followed through on that.
Anything else to add on the power of maybe one sentence, one quote, one focus, one relationship, one handshake, one anything that can change a life, change a business, change whatever?
Well, one leads to one more, which leads to one more. And it's funny how those little events, those little things that occur, when you look backward, you can see that line of sight. In the moment, it's hard to be able to see that, but if you trust that things are happening probably for a reason, or you're in a position to maybe listen and be receptive to something just at that point in time, think in terms of that kind of builds upon itself going forward as well.
Interesting. 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
What do you want to say?
Well, when you asked me, and thank you again for this opportunity. When you asked me to participate in this, the first thing I thought of is, why wouldn't I? I mean, anytime I have an opportunity to be around good people, and Michael, you're one of the very best people that I know. Take advantage of that opportunity. Don't pass that by. And so I'm definitely appreciative of that. I would say that I am probably more typical than not. And so for me to have the success I've had in business and in life, there's no secret sauce. It's really understanding what are you passionate about and matching that up with things that you're pretty good at, at the same time. The money part comes later. But if you can do something that you would do anyhow because you really enjoy doing that, and you get pretty good at doing it, and other people value that, they see that you're pretty good at that, the money will come at some point in time as well. And so I think if we talk in that kind of terms, spend every day like this is what I would do anyhow,
right,
and get really good at what you're doing, then the other things will come along later.
So what about somebody who maybe hasn't identified what those things are? Like, I don't know what I would do every day if I had all the time and money in the world or whatever.
Yeah, well, so a lot of people smarter than I have advice on this as well. One, I think it's the Seth Godin one. Fail fast. Try something. Try something new every day. See what kind of results you get from it. If it works for you, great. You get to do it a second time and a third time. If it didn't work for you, don't get hung up on it. There's a lot of other things to try as well.
It's good stuff. So far, we're at 7 note cards. This is a good meeting so far.
Good.
All right. Well, so we have 2 minutes left.
Yes.
I don't have a specific question. I can come up with a question. Is there anything else that, if I was to say, David, if you were standing on the 50-yard line in the middle of the Super Bowl, right at halftime, and you had millions of people watching, and you had 1 minute and 45 seconds to talk, like, what would you say?
Well, probably a lot of uhs, ers.
Which you've been great. I've actually been trying to check myself, and there's been no ums.
I don't have anything that I believe is worthy of that particular audience, but push to make a statement, it is we can be whatever we want to be. And I think we are our harshest critics, we are our toughest judges, and I think if we give ourselves permission to fail, just try something, and if it doesn't work out, that's okay, because there's some value in just the learning of what we do.
Sure.
So I don't know that it would take a minute and a half to do something like that.
That's good.
But I think that's exactly what I would do.
That's really good. Well, as we close out, this is the inaugural 15 Minutes of Fame video. So very thankful to David Walizer. As an individual, I've known him for a year and a half. As a business owner, I've known him for a year and a half and have had really, really fascinating conversations, great relationship. Could always go different ways, but really one of the good guys as well. So I encourage everybody out there, we'll make sure to put your website, email, maybe your contact info on the video if that's okay. We'll put it down in there.
That's fine.
And if you know anybody who was maybe starting a business or even just wanting to have a conversation about maybe starting a business or a 90-day health challenge or whatever they may have, is it all right if they reach out to you and
Absolutely.
say hello?
I'd love to discuss great possibilities with anybody and everybody, so please do share that.
And without releasing any details, be on the lookout for future things from David Walizer of what we just talked about. Some really exciting projects, I think, coming up here in the next year or two, couple years or so.
I think so as well.
So 15 Minutes of Fame, we are officially done. Thanks so much to everybody for watching. If you've got 15 minutes you'd like to share, simply send me an email. We'll put all that contact on there as well. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. And now I got to run over there or something.